So it says you're recording. I'm not sure I believe it.
No, you shouldn't believe anything that I do or say.
I know. Your wife told me that.
I
You just
know.
keep an
She's
eye
not
on
here
him,
right now, so
John.
you can say that out loud because
I
she could
do.
hear through the headphones, even though she's not here.
Yes, I know. I know she goes with her wireless just to keep an eye on you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
Yep. It's
our
wireless
awesome
tech.
wives, and they are awesome. Let's be clear about
Yes, they
that.
are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My awesome wife is right now outside doing a garage sale.
Doesn't she know it's
how much
Juneteenth?
she does, but I think Juneteenth, the actual date is the 19th.
Yeah, yes, correct.
So I think she's probably going to take tomorrow off instead. So
that's good.
I don't know. But she is doing let's call it the Juneteenth garage sale.
Okay.
And it's been interesting. It's our first one here at the condo, and we just have stuff that we moved with us that probably didn't need to.
Right.
And
And
so
then probably you don't want to
she's up
move down to Florida.
Yes, probably not. And some, there's some of the stuff that you just have to come to terms with. I'm not going to use that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the toughest part of a garage sale.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the toughest part about anything. We suffer with that because Jen and I are minimalists at heart. We don't like a lot of stuff, but we have a lot of stuff, and we keep walking through the house going, we got to get rid of all this. Let's just throw it all away. And then we find some excuse not to throw it away.
Yes. And that's what happens, I think. And one example, a good example is my bicycle.
Yeah.
Which is a very nice one that I think I spent $330 on several years ago. And it's been hanging upside down in the garage for, I'll try not to exaggerate, 6 years, 7 years.
That's how long you've been in the condo?
No, it was hanging at the house before that.
Yeah, but you had to take it down off the wall. Yeah, so
I moved it.
So you've used it. You've used it in the last couple of years
from that bike, by the way. Moved it, taking it down.
Hey, if I need to help you justify things, that's what I'm here for. If you want to keep that bike, you have moved it in the last couple of years. So therefore, you can keep it a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, I'm done moving it, and we finally sold it today, and took a bath.
That's too bad.
The guy seemed happy with it, so.
Well, that's good. I have a bike in my garage, my bike from 1993, 92.
Wow,
something like that. Yeah, it's still
did
sitting there.
Did they still have the Fred Flintstone stone wheels back then?
Back then, yes, they did.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. I had them replaced, so they're a little bit newer. The wheels are definitely newer than the bike. And they're two different ones because you go to a bike dealer and have them put stuff on. They never have two tires, and I don't know. It's been a long time. The last time I went to a bike shop was to buy Peyton a bike, and even a kid's bike, I was shocked at how expensive it was.
Yes.
It's like, why are we not at Walmart right now?
Mine is a Trek, and they are not inexpensive.
They're not cheap.
Very lightweight. Apparently, a much nicer bike than I deserved.
So I have a Fuji.
Oh, okay. Is that good? They make great cameras.
They do actually. No, it's a Fuji Discovery, and I think they still make it. Not that, I mean, it doesn't look anything like the my bike does, but it's a great old mountain bike.
A Fuji Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anytime something is named Discovery, I feel like I need to be Lewis and Clark.
You're like, that's what people say about you. You are like Lewis and Clark.
He's a lot like Lewis and Clark. He's about the same size as if Lewis ate Clark. So that's the downside of it.
I'm looking up pictures to send you.
Oh, good.
What because I know you're excited about my bike. After you just sold yours.
Is it a girl's model? Just curious.
No, the new one though, because they have the Fuji Discovery, which is my old bike, and then they have the Fuji Discovery 2, and that would, if it was designed or used back in the day when my bike was new, it would have been considered a girl's bike. Yes.
Okay. Can we talk about bike design just for a moment? Because this is
of course we can't.
You and I are intimately familiar with bicycle design and how they're made. I'm kidding. We have no.
Yeah,
But
no earthly
the
idea.
girls' bike, how they don't have the bar across the top.
Yeah. I
Shouldn't
know
that
where
be
you're
the
going with
guy's
this.
bike?
Yeah, that's
Well, come on. I've always
No, you're
thought
absolutely
that.
right. You are absolutely right. But you know why?
Why?
In reality, why they don't have it. When
No,
it was designed, women were still wearing dresses, so it made it easier for them to get their dresses over the bar
they
so they
wouldn't
could
do
pedal.
side saddle.
No, it would be interesting to do side saddle. Be pedaling off to the side. Nice that we have video now, isn't it?
Oh, that's really good because your pedaling off to the side image is
I
going to be
was.
stuck in my mind for a long
Well,
time.
it's gonna be the
You mean
screenshot
pedaling
now
off
for
to the
YouTube.
side?
Yeah, that's totally gonna be the thumbnail. I just texted you the picture of the bike.
All right. Let me see
It's
the
nothing
picture.
special in reality. Mine's red, but yeah, I never ride that bike. I have not ridden it since probably 2013 was
Oh,
the last
okay.
time
So
I
what's
tried
it
to ride it.
worth?
Nothing. Now,
Well,
the reason I've kept it is my intention is to take it to the bike shop because we have a really good bike shop
uh-huh.
right down the road because we're in the part of Nashville that's known for biking because we're right at I call it the trailhead, but it's the beginning of the Natchez Trace Parkway, which
Oh,
is
okay.
one of the longest national parks in the country. It goes from
Awesome.
right here by our house in Nashville down to Tupelo, Mississippi.
Wow.
But it's the road, and then either side of the road is a national park.
Huh. Okay.
Not very
Cool.
many people know that, but a lot of people bike it. So because the speed limit the whole way is 45.
The road or the bike, the bike
No,
trail?
the speed limit on the road because you can
Got it.
drive all the way from
So it's an
here
actual
to
road. I got it. I
it's
got
an
it.
actual road. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of scary on any road, even though the speed limit's 45. It's scary on any road. I have a friend who was killed riding a bike on a country road, and it's sad.
It
It's
is.
it's kind of a
Yeah.
scary business,
It is. It is.
unfortunately.
And they do everything. The only thing they don't have is a bike lane on the road because it's so narrow,
Sure.
but it is designed not specifically for bikers, but it's
But
really been
used
kind of
mostly
turned
for
that
bikes.
way. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's also interesting that uh, so we were in Vegas on a vacation
Hmm.
last week, and I have a hard time putting Vegas and vacation in the same
Yeah.
sentence
We can
because
just start
it
calling
doesn't
it
feel like a
vacation.
vacation. It's like a vacation. Well said. We went to the Red Rock Canyon. We rented Harleys and went to the Red Rock Canyon and rode this really cool one-way road. It's a loop that goes kind of through the canyon,
Hmm.
and the speed limit was 35
Hmm.
the whole way. And so you're going up some, mountains and hills and so on. They have several turnoffs. And as is usually the case, there were four guys on sport bikes who were doing 65 or 70.
Of
And
course
all
they
they
were.
were doing is passing people and they're nice enough guys. They did a rest area and we pulled into, and they're just, hey, how's it going? I mean, really nice guys, but what the heck? I don't. I mean, if you want to do that, go to a racetrack or whatever. But it's the same thing at the Tail of the Dragon, which
Yeah.
is in Tennessee, I believe.
Is it Tennessee or is it North Carolina?
It's one of the two. It's right over by the border, though. I know that much. Because we've been there. It may be North Carolina, but anyway, it's the same thing. If these are these hairpin turns and you ride it, well, funny story about that I'll get to, but you have guys on typically sport bikes who are
Hmm.
apparently trying to go for the best time ever. And they are racing and, knees scraping the ground as they're cornering. And I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously? Because the speed limit there, I think, is 45 or less,
Really?
depending upon corners and so on. So anyway, but we actually took it when we went to North Carolina, got a Verbo cabin, which was
Hmm.
awesome, really a lot of fun, and rode many, many miles through the mountains. And it's just beautiful. North Carolina has the best roads ever. They're just
Really?
amazing, the quality of the roads there. So if you own a motorcycle and want to ride, North Carolina is a hot tip. And we went into Tennessee as well, and because it's all
Mhm.
kind of right in the same area.
Tennessee definitely doesn't have the best roads
No, but over there in
over
the
there.
mountains, it's really good. They're pretty darn good.
That's good. Well, so,
But different
it's
when we went into Georgia and South. I think we were in South Carolina too one
so
day.
the interesting along that road, two things.
Yep.
One, I just sent you a picture of a bridge you'll probably recognize
Okay.
from being in Franklin so often, because
Mhm.
this goes right through Franklin. That's the Natchez Trace. So if you can put
Oh,
two and two
cool.
together.
Oh,
The
yeah,
the other
beautiful.
thing, yeah, it's a very famous bridge. It's also a very deadly bridge. It's one of the places where a lot of people commit suicide. So
Oh, well, that's sad. Well, it reminds me of the one, overlooking Hoover Dam.
yeah,
The
it's very
one
similar.
was
Yeah, it's probably
engineered to
designed by the
design,
same person.
probably.
Um, Anyway, so last week or this past week, because technically it is still during the week, we just happen to have Friday off,
Yes.
which is
Yep.
very rare, but kind of fun.
Unusual.
Unusual. Especially it's great that it's a Father's Day weekend as well. So
Mhm.
it's, I think it's well
Happy
well
Father's Day,
deserved
Dad.
because happy Father's Day, Dad's day after Father. Well, 2 days
It'll be
after
d
Father's
2
Day when
days
this
after,
airs,
yeah.
but it's 2 days before right now.
Yes.
Anyway, I went to Arkansas. I went to Fayetteville, Arkansas this past week for
Mhm.
work. And I drove because flying from Nashville to Fayetteville is very difficult because there's no direct flight, which I did learn there is a direct flight. It just doesn't happen to be in our company's system, that airline,
Oh,
because it's one of those really
okay.
small, this puddle jumper. It's really cheap, but we have to book our flights through our travel agency,
What's the airline?
Allegiant.
Oh,
Allegiant. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm trying not to give them a really big ding because Allegiant is a
It
low-cost
doesn't as
airline, and
it is a
yeah,
low-cost airline, but
and you
it
know
does fly
why as
direct.
soon as you fly them.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so I would have to fly to Houston and then from Houston up to Little Rock, and then it's a 2.5 hour drive from Little Rock. So the
What was your
time
drive time?
on 7.5 hours.
Oh,
So, well, it's a 2-hour flight, and you have to,
sure.
get there an hour early. So
Well,
you
get
got to
there
drive
early,
and then
exactly,
drive to
and
the
then
airport. So by the
layover and
time
yeah.
everything was done, yeah,
Yep.
layover. By the time everything was done, when I timed it out, it was 7.5 hours. So
And
I
did
would
you have
much
to wear a
rather.
mask in the car?
No, exactly. Well, that was kind of my point. I didn't have
Yes,
to wear a mask.
yes.
I always have the intention to do work while I'm at the airport or on an airplane, and I do some, but I never get anything done. Plus the fact that I don't want to pay for Wi-Fi in the airplane, so I'm not. And we're in the internet business, so everything that I
Yep,
do, I require an internet connection.
exactly.
So it
Yep,
just, it just piles up. So for me to be in the car, I listened to a great book, which is something I wanted to talk about today.
cool.
I listened to a great book, and I all the way there and all the way back. I finished it. It was a phenomenal book about Elon Musk. It's
Nice.
titled Elon Musk, and I mean, it was just a very nice drive.
Where
But
did they come up with
I
that?
know, right? So, but my point was, I went
Yes.
from Middle Tennessee to West Tennessee to East Arkansas to West Arkansas.
Oh,
So I went all
wow.
the way across the state, right?
Yep.
And it was the topography was Middle Tennessee, hilly, green, West Tennessee, flat, very
Mhm,
green, but very ugly.
mhm,
East Arkansas, flat, very ugly.
mhm.
West Arkansas, mount or hilly and just, I mean, it was
Sure.
like I never left the I just went through one topography to the back to the same. So
Awesome.
that part of Arkansas looks very similar to this part of Tennessee, and I thought that was a very interesting. But the biggest difference was the quality of the roads. The
Oh,
roads in
yeah.
Arkansas were phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, and the speed limit was 75 miles an hour.
That's nice too.
Mercedes, by the way, got
Mhm.
better gas mileage once I got over 75. I'm sorry, 70. Once I got over 70, the
Yes.
gas mileage actually got better. And that probably is because of the flatness as well, but still,
Sure,
I got it
sure.
up to when I filled the tank, how it tells you how many miles you have till empty.
Mhm,
And rarely, sometimes, but rarely do I get over 600. And I was over
mm.
600.
Wow.
So Yeah,
because
it
of
was
the
pretty
great
incredible.
mileage you were getting. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that's awesome that you had good roads because there are some bad roads and places I've lived.
Yeah.
There are certainly some bad ones here in Wisconsin, but
Memphis is just one bad road.
is it? Yeah, and it used to be that way too. So it's not like that's new.
Mhm. Right. And
Detroit,
that's even with all the
and
road construction.
yeah,
Oh, Detroit. Detroit
Detroit,
is
Southern Michigan has some of the worst roads, and the people
yeah.
who live there are totally in agreement. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
potholes that you can drive vehicles into and hike
Right.
them.
Well,
Crazy.
our one of our friends, Matt, he lives in Cleveland, and his roads
Mhm.
are very similar, and he always jokes that the police in the winter look for the people who are, driving straight because those are probably the drunk ones because of all the potholes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
but
wow.
you're those states and those cities do have an excuse. Not it's not a good excuse, but it is an excuse because winter that just wreaks havoc on the roads, and
Sure,
that's why right now our roads here in Nashville are horrible because we had a rough winter
sure.
compared to previous winters. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of potholes right now
We
in
complain
Middle
on both
Tennessee.
ends of it. We complain on both ends of
Yep.
it, though. It's not only do I hate it when the roads are terrible, but I also hate when they're under construction, and it
Oh
slows
yeah.
traffic down and yada yada. So it's just a vicious cycle. And somebody told me though, and it may have been you, I don't even remember, but it was because most everything you say sticks with me for life. Something about the roads in Germany and the
Yep.
Autobahn, for example.
hmm
They have to
Almost
do
it's
very
more than
little work,
twice.
and they're
Yeah. Well,
through
it's more.
winter all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Go
more than
ahead.
twice the. It's more than twice the thickness.
Thickness, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and that's why
And
they
the materials
last
used.
longer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
and the
strange.
Autobahn, our whole freeway system is designed based on the Autobahn, which is
Really?
ironic because our roads aren't anywhere near as thick, but it serves the same purpose. That was why the Autobahn was created, was to be able to funnel troops through the
Mhm.
country.
Hmm,
And
interesting,
that's what our interstate system is supposed to be used for in an emergency.
interesting. Well, it
Yeah.
is, and I think it was Eisenhower who was president when the
hmm
interstate system was initially, designed and put into practice or put into play,
Right.
um and yeah, it really is pretty amazing. It's just the constant construction. It just makes it
Oh
tougher.
yeah.
And California, you're right. California doesn't have the big swings in cold temperatures. They certainly get the hot temperatures in the
Right.
valley and so on. But
Yeah.
those states that don't have winter, they don't get nearly as much shifting among the
Right.
road
Well,
surfaces as we
let's
do.
let's avoid California and shifting right now.
Yeah.
We don't want
Yes.
to jinx them. My dad always used to make fun of me because I wanted to move to California because I was a film buff and I wanted to go to
Sure.
USC and stuff like that. He's like, "You don't want to go to California. It's going to shake and fall off the face of the earth." I don't think he's completely wrong. I just think his
Well,
timing might be a little off.
the timing might be. It's the famous San Andreas fault that
Yeah.
yeah, I wow. Yeah, it's there's some have you ever been through an earthquake or experienced that?
I so the short answer is yes.
Okay.
However, ironically, it was 2000 and I think it was 2000, either 1999 or 2000.
Okay.
I was in Los Angeles and I was at USC in an auditorium watching student films. So some of the famous people that have come out of USC, their student films are still used as um, tour fodder and as a study for other people.
Mhm.
And we were just watching, enjoying, didn't hear it, just heard the sounds from the films and everything finished. And the teacher came in and said, "Y'all feel that?" We're like, "Feel what?" "We just had an earthquake." "Oh, really?"
Mm,
"Yeah." And it wasn't a big one, obviously, because we didn't feel any of it. But
mhm.
the building that we were in, and it was the old Annenberg building, because now they have a new Annenberg building, which Annenberg is the school at USC. That's the one where I have my degree from. It's the
Okay.
School of Communication, but it's also where the film department lives and stuff like that. And we were in the old building, in the old auditorium, but it was still built to withstand
Withstand
earthquakes.
that stuff. Sure.
So if it was shaking, we were moving in the opposite direction. So that's probably why we didn't feel it. But yes, so the
Wow.
answer is yes, I have been in an
But you
earthquake,
didn't know
but
it.
I didn't feel it. Right. And
Do you
I
know what
actually go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you know what the Richter scale measure was on it?
No, no. But I was in a second one that I completely missed again. I was living in Atlanta, and the fault line in Missouri shook. So, but it carried all the way down to Atlanta. And I was in the middle of the night, and I woke up because there was a big bang at my window, and no one was out there, and I didn't know what it was, so I went back to sleep. And I woke up the next day, and the news was on, and they said, yeah, there was an earthquake, blah blah blah. We felt it in Atlanta, and sure enough, it was right at the time where I heard that big bang on my window. But again, I didn't feel it because I was asleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. They want you around apparently when they have earthquakes.
Yeah. Have you been in an earthquake?
I don't think so. And if so, it would have been something like that where I slept through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
You don't get many
recall
in
that I had.
Wisconsin, I'm sure.
No, although we've had them. The same is also true in the Plains states. They have tended lately, it seems like, to get quite a few in Arkansas and that area, North Texas.
Yeah.
So on. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a sign of something to come or whatever. I have no idea. But anyway, that would be pretty scary. Stand in the doorway, you'll be fine. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
What do you do with it's like a tornado when tornadoes come, and that's what I grew up with, and you did too.
Yeah.
I was scared to death of tornadoes when I was a kid.
Were you really?
It was I was sure the tornado is going to be one of those, and we were in one I've talked about this before, but when I was young, probably 5, we were actually in a tornado, my entire family, in our big 59 Chevy Impala. And
Yes.
I still remember it. We're, just rocking as the winds were going through in a town in Wisconsin, and scared, screaming, and all that going on in the car. So tornadoes were more of a threat.
That's exciting. Yeah, it's so interesting.
In hindsight, maybe.
Well, that's the thing I find very interesting, because and maybe it's just where I grew up and not necessarily everywhere, but they do make fun of other people in Minnesota that do the same thing. Here, if there's a tornado watch or warning, Jen will pick up Peyton and go in, because we don't have basements here. So she'll go into the center of the house. She goes into the laundry room, which is the most protected part of the house, right? And I'm like, why are you doing that? It's not here. We don't see it. We don't hear the alarms going off. Why are you doing that? Because they freak her out.
Sure.
When I was growing up, if there was a tornado warning or a tornado watch, we'd all go outside and go, where is it?
Yes.
Let's see if we can see it. Now, all fairness, it's a little bit different. Minnesota is perfectly flat. Where I was, it was perfectly flat. So you could see something coming.
You could see it coming from probably from Wisconsin, where you are.
Right.
And if it came from the other direction, you could see it from Colorado. You can just watch it on the way over.
Exactly. So we're not flat here, so you can't really see it coming. But that was the difference. I will go stand out on the porch during a storm, where my wife and Peyton will be in. Well, Peyton might not be. I don't think she quite understands the difference. But I'm standing out there watching the storm. I might go in because I'm getting wet.
Sure.
So maybe I'm an idiot. I probably am. But
that was my dad too. He was the same way. He would go out and but the rest of us were all basement dwellers, and of course,
you think about it. So
forever. So
I miss basements. I did have one in Dixon. That was the only house out of the bunch that we've owned here that ever had a basement. But you also, for the most part, can tell when it's about to hit because of certain weather changes. Your ears pop. You hear the train. hail, if it's during the day, the sky turns
Mhm.
green. There's a bunch of different factors. It's not going to jump up on you. You just
Not
have to
very
be
often, no.
aware.
Not
Right.
very often. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're paying attention, it's not going to jump up on you.
Right. Right.
So, but
Especially these
again,
days. Much better
and I'm
warnings
not
and
saying everyone should go out and stand outside. No, I'm not saying that. To play it safe, go to the center of your house.
yeah.
Don't be stupid like us or me, and do stuff like that. It is much better to do what my wife and daughter do, and that's go and be safe. So
Nice disclaimer. Well
now
done,
now
sir.
that well, you got to make sure you appease the lawyers.
Yes.
Last thing I want is to be sued. Hey, that I heard on that podcast, potty
Yeah,
something,
we're
potty
gonna take you
dusting,
guys
that you got to go stand outside during a tornado. Yeah, that would go well.
Yeah, that would not be good. Please
No,
go
I
to the
mean,
middle of the house. Yes,
they're
we
gonna
will
take
have
everything we make on this podcast.
we will yes, we want everything you guys earn. I'm not sure you can
Bill,
live
we
on
need
that.
another cup of coffee.
Yes, thank you, Bill. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's those storms you just never know about. And in Florida, the house we're building will be on a slab too. But the
Yeah.
houses there, or at least ours, is going to be made with cinder block.
Mm-hmm.
So
To
it's
survive.
made to withstand hurricanes.
Right.
And so friends of ours who recently moved down too, they're also in a cinder block house. And they said when the winds come up and it's stormy, you can't hear a thing.
Really?
It's nothing like
Interesting.
a stick-built house and so I'll look forward to that. But yeah, they're built to withstand that sort of nasty weather, apparently.
So I've been told, and I don't know if this is true, but the winds in a tornado are far worse and far more a tornado is far more destructive, not damaging, but more destructive than a hurricane.
Well, I think that can go many different directions just because hurricanes cover a wider swath, much
Right.
wider.
Right.
They are straight line winds as opposed to twisting winds. Twisting
Right.
winds tend to do more
Damage.
intense structural damage, I would say.
Mhm.
But straight line winds do their share of damage too. The real thing with a hurricane, as I understand, is storm surge. That can be the big
Yes.
thing with
Yeah,
water
well,
damage and things
that's
like that.
that's what happened in New Orleans. It wasn't the
Right.
hurricane that caused all
Exactly.
the damage, it was the flooding
Exactly.
afterwards.
It was the storm surge. Exactly right.
Yep.
And that's so is one worse than another? I don't know. I've seen damage from tornadoes that's incredible. I mean,
Mhm.
trees, but it's a path that you can just see the whole path
Yeah.
of it, which is even freakier. But trees just twisted, and you could see from the spinning motion.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one here in Nashville recently, you'll be
Yeah.
driving down the freeway. You could drive from my house in the west and kind of go to I'm in the southwest, and then you go to the northeast side of the city, and it's just normal path,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
gone.
Wow.
Normal.
Because
It's kinda crazy. It's
they'll
kinda
pop up
surreal.
and then drop down again just
Yeah.
for no reason whatsoever.
Yep.
They're a little bit random, our tornadoes.
Just like you.
Yeah. I am not. Caw-caw! Yeah, maybe I am. A little random.
Little Randall.
So my
Little
bike got sold. My bicycle got sold at the
Wait,
garage sale. Well,
whoa.
yeah,
Both got sold at the garage sale? 'Cause I was
bicycle.
gonna make fun of you and say, "Are you sure you wanted to leave Lisa in the garage? Because if you go back now, your bike, the
Oh, no.
Harley, might be sold."
No. I already put a number on that. Everything's for sale. People go,
Ah,
"Oh, is that one for sale?" I said, "Yeah, but it's
everything's
not
for
gonna
sale.
be." It's me, car guy. Yeah, it's all for sale.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You like the garage? It's for sale. So
Like the
yeah,
house?
all
It's
of
for
that
sale.
for sale. So yes, I'll throw the bike in at the right price. But yeah, and Lisa actually, we sold her. I got her a very nice Trek bike, girl's
Mhm.
bike that doesn't have the junk protection. Uh, that's the
So
come
she
on.
doesn't does she wear her dress when she rides her bike?
She doesn't. No, heck no, no.
There you go. So she
Um, And so that is that. It's an interesting point, and I'm sure that was the initial design with the
Oh, I have no
the
idea. I
curved
just
bar.
completely made that
No, it
up.
makes sense to me though,
It does make
uh,
sense.
but it doesn't make sense if you have junk that can get damaged when you jump off. Okay, have you ever ridden a bike with the click-in shoes?
Yes.
And so you know the danger of that, especially when you're new to it.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, you need to be prepared to take a dive if you can, because your shoes are like this, and then you got
Mhm.
to go like this to click them out. And
Yep.
if you somehow do this instead, or this, or whatever, and you're gonna go down,
Oh, yeah. Yep. You're
and
absolutely
you
right.
just go in the grass, and it's like who was the guy on Laughing, Rowan and Martin's Laughing? He
It
would
was either
tip
Rowan or
over on
Martin.
his tricycle. No, it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
Artie Johnson. That's who it was. Wow.
I remember that. I
Scary that
remember
I
that.
remember that. Anyway, but he tipped right over.
You know
That's
what's worse?
the
Worse than
dangerous part.
tricycles?
And if you do that, you're gonna hurt your junk. Okay, go ahead.
Right. Well, no, and this goes along with that. It's even
Yes.
more serious than that, though.
Yes.
Just like a clip-in bike, just like the tricycle,
Mhm.
a tandem bike is probably the most dangerous bike.
Had a guy who came to the garage sale, and it's interesting the mix of people. You get people who are looking for specific things because they're collectors. And one guy came in, he had 9 motorcycles. I said, "See, honey," because I should have 9. Yeah, I don't want 9 motorcycles. 2 would be fine. He bought one of my bike lifts,
Okay.
which I didn't need it, didn't want it, tried to get rid of it, and he got a great deal on it. Another guy came in, he has 100 bicycles. 100.
Wow.
And knew everything about him, and I told him about my bike and yada yada. He's collecting tandems now, he said, and he has
Interesting.
6 tandem bicycles in his garage. Wow. He says, "Yeah, I call it tandemonium."
Oh,
That's pretty
wow.
good.
He's one of those. Someone we need to
Yes.
have on the podcast.
No, probably not.
No.
No.
Yeah,
So,
so Tyson, on who we've had on the podcast,
yeah,
did we talk about when he was on that in college, he actually bought a unicycle and learned how to ride it and would ride it all around campus?
I don't think we did. Really?
Yeah, yeah. Does that surprise you, though, after beating Tyson?
No.
Yeah,
No, but I
it
don't know
doesn't
what I
didn't
mean,
surprise anyone.
but unicycle, I guess. I mean, I
You see my face right now? That's pretty much the reaction
yes.
everyone had. It's
Does
like,
he still ride it?
"It's Tyson."
We need to
We should have
ask him.
asked. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know he still has it because he brought it up or he mentioned it somewhere on social media once. I don't know if he still rides it regularly though,
it's pretty funny.
but, yeah.
Unicycle.
Yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
didn't it surprised no one. Not
Yeah.
one person said, "That's weird." No, it's just,
Tyson,
"Okay,
he has a
Tyson,
unicycle.
got."
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Yeah. That's awesome. Yes, we should have
Uh,
Tyson on again soon. He's a good
we should. Maybe he'll ride his he'll do the podcast on the unicycle.
wow. Yeah, and just when I thought that straight bar for dudes is dangerous, now you're talking
Right.
about a unicycle, that would also be
Yeah.
endangering junk
Yeah. Well, anytime you get on a bike, you're endangering the junk.
or a eunuch.
A eunuch
Right,
cycle?
bike is short for bicycle, eunuch is
Unicy
short for
eunuch?
unicycle, and you
Yeah.
become a eunuch if you
Right.
fall off.
Right.
I think we're
It all
onto
makes sense
something
to
here.
me. I
Yeah,
think so too.
trike, bike, eunuch.
There's the name.
Yeah.
You did it again.
Boy, the
Trike,
last time I
bike,
did that was
eunuch.
PoddiMouths.
Trike, bike, eunuch.
Eunuch.
All right.
You could be trike. This could be like an equation. Trike plus bike equals eunuch, or
Squared.
trike plus bike plus unicycle. Never mind.
Yeah. Good try though. I'm
Don't
not
wreck
great at
it.
math, so it just
I don't
didn't
want to
work for me.
wreck.
Side note,
Math.
or
Yes.
different rabbit hole, because
Yes.
we've talked about math, and I don't like math, so I'm gonna change the subject.
Okay.
Got any big plans for Father's Day? Because I know you're childless technically, so there's
Technically,
technically, unless
yes.
they're coming up to visit or you're going down there, by
Nope.
Sunday.
Nope.
But any
No.
plans for Father's Day?
No, thank you for asking. We are our church service is outside,
Okay.
so we're going to it's lawn chairs, and then they're gonna have food trucks at the church
Oh,
after
fun.
Dad. So there's gonna be barbecue and so on. So that should be fun. So yeah, we're kind of looking forward to that outdoor service, assuming it doesn't rain, which would not be good.
Mhm.
And beyond that, probably just hang out, maybe go for a ride or something like that. How
Nice.
about you? What's your plan?
Uh, well, so I always every year I ask for excuse me. I ask for Father's Day or sometimes my birthday, just depends on how I'm feeling, a bag of Doritos. I rarely eat Doritos, but it's one of those things. So I asked for a bag of Doritos. So I'm hopefully going to get my bag of Doritos.
Really?
Yeah, and I did
Cool
cheat
Ranch?
this week. Oh, no, no, no traditional nacho.
Oh, okay.
I did cheat a little bit this week, though, I will admit, because I had such a long drive from Nashville to
Mhm.
to Arkansas. I don't like to eat late, and when I got to the hotel, Arkansas is interesting because the dealerships are all still like here in Nashville, but
Mhm.
everyone was still kind of masked up, depending on where you were. I
Oh,
mean, if you go into a gas station, no, but
interesting.
but even the hotels. So the hotels are interesting because even at Texas and Tennessee, they've taken all their signs down. It'll
Sure.
say, if you're vaccinated, by all means, don't wear a mask.
Mhm.
There, masks are required. Doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. It was just interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was late in the evening, and I wasn't hungry, but I'd still wanted some food.
Would you say
So
late?
well, late for me because I like to eat a little bit early because I don't like to eat a few hours
Oh,
before
that's
I go to
smart.
bed.
Smart.
So I feel like an old person because I do eat around 5:30. Sometimes I go as late as 6.
Okay.
Woo! So it was about 7 or it was 8. It was 8 o'clock when
Okay.
I was there. And I just felt a little peckish because, when I drive, I don't usually eat or even drink water because I'd like to get and go, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing they really had was bags of chips, and the only one that was appealing to me was a bag of Doritos. So I did get one of those little bags of Doritos. So I cheated. I did cheat. But anyway, so I'll hopefully get my bag of Doritos, and then because Jen always just in the best way possible always hounds me for what I want to do on Father's Day or my
Mhm.
birthday or anything like that. I don't care. I don't just sit around do nothing. Whatever you want to do. If you want to go somewhere, and but this year I was watching YouTube as I often do,
You do. I do
and
too.
there was a I was watching video on the V-35B, which is, my favorite airplane. Everyone knows
Mhm.
that. We've talked about it a million times.
Everyone knows
And
it.
I'm like,
Bonanza.
Bonanza. I'm like, you know what I've wanted to do for a few years and never have? John, do you know what's in Tennessee? I think we've talked about it on the podcast. Do you know what's in Tennessee? Which is ironic that I live only 60 minutes away from it. Never have I been there and always wanted to go.
Is it
The,
an airport?
it's on an airport. Yes.
Okay. Oh, they
It's
manufacture the bonanzas.
they don't know they manufacture those in Kansas or
Okay.
I think in Kansas. I think in Kansas, yeah.
Okay.
No, the Beechcraft Heritage Museum.
Oh, interesting.
So I told Jen it's $10 for adults. It's a small. You can actually go up to it. It's the or go up to the website. Where's my mouse? Why is my mouse not working? There we go. It is beechcraftheritagemuseum.org.
Okay.
And yeah, they have a couple of hangars. They only have about 30, 40 airplanes, but they all the airplanes through history. And the most interesting thing to me, which is where I got reminded of it, they have a cross section of a V-35B. So
Really?
you can actually see how it's constructed. And so I find that
Oh,
very
that's
fascinating.
cool.
Now, trying to get my
Yeah.
girls to go, that'll be a little bit different. Jen said,
Well,
I'll
maybe they'll
go
wait
if
in
you
the
want.
car for you.
Maybe it shouldn't take too long to go through, only a few
Oh,
hours. But the other interesting thing is, the airplane, which I'm actually looking at the site right now,
yeah.
and it just flashed a picture of it. But the airplane that Amelia Earhart disappeared in is a
Uh-huh.
Beechcraft, and
Okay.
they have one of those there. It's the one with Navy on it. 68 TLC, I think, is the tail number.
The they're showing a is it the biplane?
No, if you go to in here, I think it's because I'm on. It's about us, and then go to exhibits. At the very top, it's just they're going through all the airplanes. Anyway, so hopefully that's where we're gonna go. I might be later this afternoon or tomorrow because they're closed on Sunday. Go figure. But that's going to be fun for me. And selfishly, besides the fact that there's a V-35B there, that's a cross section. Peyton's never been around a small airplane, and she's not 100% convinced because I want to get my pilot's license. This has been something I've wanted to do since I was 17 years old, and I'm getting closer to being able to do it. But Peyton's kind of iffy about doing the small airplanes because she's never been around one. So I want to at least introduce her to see if it'd be something she's interested in. Because if she's interested, then she'll support it. And yeah. So anywho,
you're trying to get her support.
I'm trying to justify my pilot's license.
Yeah. I see the cutaway.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that sounds awesome. And that's how far you said it, just an hour away?
It's about an hour away. Yeah, it's in
awesome.
I forgot where it is.
Doesn't matter. It's on the website.
Doesn't matter. It's on the website. Yep.
And that is Beechcraft heritagemuseum.org.
Yep. Hey folks, Nick here. Thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast. John and I had so much fun making this one that we decided to split it into two. So I hope you'll stick around and wait for next week's episode, which will be episode number 24, part 2 of our Father's Day special. So tune in next week and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, everyone. See ya.